we're going to take a look at Stormgate, the highly anticipated real-time strategy.
Let's go!
Then our resident RTS addict is going to sit down with some of the game developers to ask the hard-hitting questions like, when can we play this already?
Yes, hit hard!
2 years ago, our team assembled with a shared vision to build a brand new real-time strategy game. Together, we've been fortunate to work on some of the greatest RTS games of all time, and now we have a chance to do it again by creating the next evolution of that legacy. Today, we are so excited to share a first glimpse of Stormgate, an exclusive sneak peek into the universe and game that we've been creating for you.
Okay, that
Stormgate takes
more.
place
like
in an all-new post-apocalyptic setting where science fiction and fantasy collide. Our story begins hundreds of years in Earth's future, following the near extinction of humanity. This great calamity was caused by the Infernal Host, a playable alien race of demonic invaders that are hell-bent on claiming this planet as their own. With our story, we are creating an ever-expanding game universe, told through an ongoing series of campaign missions that you can play solo or cooperatively. New chapters will come out regularly, along with new units, maps, modes, and plenty of other surprises. In addition to campaign missions, we're building a world-class competitive experience with grassroots and professional tournaments accessible from directly within the game. There will be different leagues suitable for all levels of experience.
Fountain of Mana
In our
League.
new 3-player co-op versus AI mode, you'll level up your heroes, collect rewards, and customize your forces to open up new styles of gameplay and long-term variety.
Dope, it's actually moving!
Stormgate will be free to play, but not pay to win, and there will be no NFTs. Beta testing starts next year, and you can sign up now to reserve your place in line at playstormgate.com.
You might happen to know that I'm a huge fan of real-time strategy games. StarCraft is my favorite game. I've played it for 25 years. I still play it, and that's why I am so thrilled today to be talking to FrostGiant Studios. They're a group of amazing developers who have worked on literally my favorite games of all time. And we're here to talk about their brand new, free-to-play, real-time strategy game set in a post-apocalyptic Earth. It's Stormgate. And here to talk about it is the CEO and production director at FrostGiant, Tim Morton. Thanks for joining us, Tim.
Thank you so much for having me here.
I want to know about the world. I want to know about the game. Tell us, what is Stormgate?
All right, this is our first game as a new studio. And it is classic real-time strategy, but designed to be more social. We build the game in a universe that ties everything together, but provide different kinds of experiences for players who like different kinds of gameplay. So we've got cooperative campaign mode, also play open-ended co-op, but if you're somebody who really enjoys competition, we've got 1 versus 1, high skill, competitive. And those are very different ways to play in some ways, but they're also all unified by the universe, by the races, by the units. So you really get a sense for how to enjoy the game.
And I'm curious a little bit about that core gameplay, because obviously in all these modes you're going to be collecting money, building bases, building units, and so on. And I know that for you, the game feeling really good and really smooth to play is super important. Now, obviously, I come from a time where if the pathfinding is bad, we call that high skill opportunity. But I mean, how do you think about getting the controls, the motions, just the feel of the game to feel good in 2022?
Yeah, it's interesting that RTS is one of the only genres I can think of where you have to have hundreds, even thousands of units synchronized over the network and responsive in a way that high skill, like pro esports players feel good about playing the game. That's not easy. It does require custom technology. There's no engine that you buy off the shelf that does that for you. So we definitely started knowing that and having the benefit of our chief architect, James Anhalt, who did that work previously on StarCraft 2. So we've put a lot of effort into that for sure.
And this is going to be one of the first major RTSs people are aware of that is on Unreal Engine 5. What is it like working in this next generation engine?
It's pretty incredible how far things have come from a graphics perspective, and I think the art team is unlocked in so many ways by what Unreal provides. So we're very excited. We're still learning everything that Unreal can do for us. But even that first cinematic that we debuted, like that's done in Unreal. So the high quality graphics that you're seeing are actually coming from Unreal as an engine.
So you've talked a little bit about, for new players, making the game feel a little more approachable, a little bit more streamlined, but obviously, StarCraft, real-time strategy, has this astonishingly long history as a competitive game, as an esport. And I'm curious, how is your team going to approach that?
So a lot of the emphasis around our thinking has been focused on what are things that we can add, especially around the gameplay experience. And one of those things is more seamless integration with esports. I mean, being able to sign up, participate in tournaments directly from the client in a way that gives players, even if you're not like top grandmaster, ready to take on Cyril, there's still an opportunity to be the best on your block or the best at your company or the best at your school. So we want to facilitate esports all the way from grassroots level up to the pro level directly in the client.
So, of course, in the history of RTS games, a really important component of them has always been mods. I mean, Warcraft 3, there's players that didn't even play the original game. They just did custom mode after custom mode. Does Stormgate have modding? How are you thinking about the modding community?
A number of members of the FrostGiant team actually came out of the modding community. The team as a whole is very passionate about it. From the outset, we started out applying resources to build a custom editor. I think there's a lot of opportunity to make improvements to the editing experience for RTS. We are also working on the infrastructure for people to be able to share their mods with each other. So it's really core to us as a team to enable modding, and we're absolutely working on it.
And of course, we have to end with my favorite question of all. When can we play the game and how do we play it, Tim?
So we are going to start our beta in 2023. We already have a site stood up at playstormgate.com to be able to register for the beta. We have a lot of active discussion topics on our subreddit as well, so there's an opportunity to participate in the dialogue around what we're building.
Tim, thank you so much for joining us again today. We just got a chance to talk about Stormgate, the upcoming free-to-play RTS from FrostGiant Studios. I'm personally super pumped to play it, and be sure to check it out at playstormgate.com. Now, Tim, I'm going to do a transition to the next game. Are you ready? This is going to be good. Watch this. It's going to be so sick. Next, we're going to show you Leysara, Summit Kingdom from Quite OK Games.
You guys,
Detail and dynamic
I
elements.
think you caught that they said leveling up heroes. Is that true? Did I get this right? Did you get this right? It was when they showed the first gameplay, right? Did you catch this right? Let's watch it again.
Today we are so excited to share a first glimpse of Stormgate, an exclusive sneak peek into the universe and game that we've been creating for you. Stormgate takes place in an all-new post-apocalyptic setting where science fiction
Level up your
and
co-op
fantasy
commanders?
Our story begins
That's different, of course.
years in Earth's future, following the near
It
extinction.
would greatly surprise me if they, in all interviews, said they don't plan on doing levels and then confirm levels here.
Alien race of demonic invaders that are hell-bent on claiming this planet as their own. With our story, we are creating an ever-expanding game universe, told through an ongoing series of campaign missions.
Okay, it's
that
coming
you can play
soon,
mode
I think.
as a competitive experience, with grassroots and professional tournaments accessible from
Did I skip
directly
it?
within the game. There will be different leagues suitable for all levels of experience. In our
Alright.
new 3-player co-op versus AI mode, you'll level up your heroes, collect rewards, and customize your
Okay, so wait, what exactly did they say? How do I rewind again?
be different leagues suitable for all levels of experience. In our new 3-player co-op versus AI mode, you'll level up your heroes, collect rewards.
Okay. That's co-op. That's not one-on-one. That's not player versus player. So okay, sorry to hype you up, but hey, we get moving. That's actually
Our new
things are moving.
3-player co-op versus
So
AI
what-
mode.
how do you like
you'll
it?
level up your heroes,
I think it's
collect
pretty
rewards,
damn
customize your
smooth
forces to open up new styles
how they
of
drop.
and long-term
I think it looks kind of weird how the demons just disappear, but everything else is pretty smooth. Right? They poof? Yeah, needs blood, corpses. Okay, yeah, that's likely. Leveling happens with out-of-game progression. Yo, Monk, what's up? Star of the Stormgate dev team. Like the first moving images, I feel like this is a good impression. Camera angle is kind of steep. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this will not be the default one. You'll probably able to zoom out more or whatever and change the angle probably. This basic, I think it's just for demonstration, but I love how it, like, when the units drop, there's definitely detail to it. Like the fin or whatever it is shaking a little bit. It drops shells on the floor. It's not bad. I'd like to zoom out more. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay, so we confirmed the level up is just for your kind of character thingy. So far, so good. Yeah, I think so too. Apart from that, did we learn a lot of new stuff? I don't think so.
And that's why I am so thrilled today to be talking to FrostGiant Studios.
Please nerf Max.
Literally my favorite games of all time. And
Yeah, I agree.
About their brand new, free-to-play, real-time strategy game set in a post-apocalyptic Earth. It's Stormgate. And here to talk about
Okay, I think
CEO and production director at FrostGiant, Tim Morton. Thanks for joining us, Tim.
we'll need to add Naga footprint to the next update. Sorry. Yeah, first of all, I'm pretty sure this is the first of hopefully many dev updates, and I raised the question before this was shown, like, how do you keep the hype going from now to the start of beta, because there seems to be a little bit of a content hole here. I don't know if there's any conventions or whatever started, but dev updates, very important. I really hope they keep on doing what they're doing on Reddit, because I really like the discussions there. I like the questions that are raised. I like the way they are fishing for answers, and I like the way they summarize what they are thinking about a certain topic. I definitely recommend reading up on it if you haven't, on the FrostGiant Reddit.
Want to know about the game? Tell us, what is Stormgate?
All right. This
But
is
apart from
our
that,
first game as a new studio.
there's an interesting event at the end of September that could demo some stuff. Yeah, FrostGiant, hit me up. If you want to show something to 100 dedicated Warcraft people.
Different kinds of experiences for players who like different kinds of games.
Funk Daddy, thank you for the sub.
Cooperative.
I'd really love frequent updates, even if they're very tiny. Exactly. Like, even a podcast. I know everybody and their mother is doing a podcast now, but I would love to, hear more from Monk and just follow their thinking process. And I kind of want to follow when they have a breakthrough or when they finished something. That would be dope, but that is very niche, I guess. I want to start a podcast. I'd call it Real Time. Yeah, and of course they have to interact with more content creators as they are doing already.
If you're somebody who really enjoys competition, we've got 1 versus 1, high skill, competitive. And those are very different ways to play in some ways, but they're also all unified by the universe, by the races, by the units. So you really get a sense for
The video feels a bit like Space Marines fighting a wave rather than equal parties race on a balanced map. Yeah, it's just a short snippet for a demonstration.
how to enjoy the game.
And I'm curious a little bit about that core gameplay, because obviously in all these modes you're going to be collecting money, building bases,
Do you have a
and
balanced
so on. And I know that for you, the game feeling really good and really smooth.
Grubby will have an interview with them tomorrow. Can he top our interview, though, is the question.
Pathfinding is bad. We call that high skill opportunity. But I mean, how do you think about getting the controls, the motions, just the feel of the game?
Okay, so
in 2022?
they talk about that it's really, really, really hard, and that's probably a reason why nobody really did it in the past 10 years.
Think of where you have to have hundreds even
It's cool that we see them in motion, except, like, and not just the still. Yeah, I definitely agree, FrostGiant. So this is the big reveal of today, I guess.
players who
I would love to see moving pictures from night. I'm not the biggest fan of the super bright terrain that we have there,
somebody who really enjoys competition.
but the night stills looked very good, and with
Skill competitive. And
a couple of shadows, this looks a lot better than the still already.
but they're also all unified by
But yeah, I guess this is all to be improved on. Not gonna lie, so hyped. I'm still skeptical, just because it's my nature. That they deliver everything they promise because they promise so much. 1 hour interview with Monk coming up after. You wanna hop on, Monk? You wanna answer questions? Or we keep it for another podcast episode. Because you've been talking a lot and you're out there at the moment. Maybe we save you for when it's a little calmer. I'm pretty sure you repeated everything that you are allowed to share already. And how about we save you for when you have something to reveal? I gotcha. So FrostGiant, when can we expect more? It was really cool that we had the reveal on Thursday and now we were all kind of expecting or anticipating Sunday. Can you give us an ETA of something? Whether it be, I don't know, some sort of dev update, updates on the homepage, whatever. Rather weeks or month is enough. They're gone again, aren't they? Probably confirming what they can do. But cool. I like it. I like what I see so far. And I like what's possible with this new technology for an RTS that I guess has not been done before. But yeah, at the moment, the best thing is what I hear and what I see in terms of community interaction. And I stay skeptical, but excitedly skeptical, I think. Okay, so no ETA on another update. I getcha. Thanks for hanging with us, FrostGiant. It's been a pleasure as always. So have a good evening. Take care. And see you hopefully soon. Guys, thanks so much for... Okay, what worries me a little bit, but I also understand it. This is what I thought during the presentation. They only mentioned StarCraft. I can definitely understand because StarCraft is the latest big RTS, but they are leaning very heavily on StarCraft. I know they want to fish in a pond of StarCraft fans, and StarCraft had a lot of fans, but they're also competing with the big one, and it kind of feels like this is just StarCraft 2.5 or somewhat leaning towards StarCraft 3 rather than being Stormgate. That's the biggest fear, that they are leaning too heavily, that they're using StarCraft 2 as a crutch. No mentioning of Warcraft, by the way, which is a damn shame, everybody. I think they have to find a better way to stand out, to find their own characteristics and show me Stormgate and not show me StarCraft 2.5. That is from this first week of presentation, that's my biggest takeaway. Because the Terrans are literally called the Terrans, and in their first big demo, they show a lot of StarCraft. I mean, Day 9 is here. Day 9 was an anchor of the entire StarCraft community. StarCraft is the most famous and most played RTS in the world. I totally understand that, but FrostGiant, I think you don't need that as a crutch. Your game is supposed to have wings, and you don't need a crutch. So I wonder how you're responding to this. Why is it StarCraft 2.5? LOTV was 2.5. They're not called the Terrans. What would be so good to keep up from Warcraft 3 though? Like when they mentioned custom games, they could have used Warcraft there because Warcraft is more famous for user-generated content than StarCraft is. But it would also look outdated. I totally get it. Just lure people in with that and then show them how you are unique and how you stand out and how you are creative to create a new corporate identity, to create a new franchise. They already mentioned Warcraft 3 stuff in the interview. Yeah. They mentioned Warcraft 3 in interviews a lot, but they didn't show it here, right? That's what I mean. This was a big presentation, and Warcraft 3 wasn't mentioned, but only StarCraft. That's my only takeaway. Of course, biased as being a Warcraft channel, as always. Have they answered any questions about base building? What will it be like? So base building is still important as to you have to make decisions. This was extensively talked about with Monk and Winter. So they want base building decisions to be important, but they don't want you to know a whole lot about it. Like in StarCraft, for example, on every map you have to know how to wall off, for example, and that is knowledge that you don't necessarily want because it's just learning and it's just unnecessary work. So these annoying elements should be gone, but still important for a strategy. For example, how you position your moon wells or how you position your burrows. But just make it easier, from my understanding. Maybe Monk is still here and can do this. But yeah, I definitely recommend the winter interviews. I think targeting the hardcore RTS communities instead of appealing to the mobile audience is a gross mistake. I tend to agree. And I don't really know how they will fix that in updates. Like they are basically, like they are not appealing to people who move from Warcraft and StarCraft to Dota and League of Legends. They cater to the StarCraft, Warcraft, and Age of Empires players of the world. Will it be with minerals? There will be 2 different resources. They didn't name them yet, but they like the resource system of Warcraft more than StarCraft, is what they said across every single interview. My biggest worry is that it will be designed for mobile players more than hardcore one-on-one RTS. I don't see any reason to think that at the moment. As an RTS player, we don't need to cater to mobile players at all. A lot of mobile players were RTS players at one point. We saw a lack of death effect so far. Yep, I agree. But I think they will add that. Isn't the resource system from Warcraft and StarCraft almost the same? Not necessarily. Like, in StarCraft, you have your one base, then you have the minerals here, and then you have gas here. In Warcraft, yeah, it's kind of similar that you have trees around as well. But for example, Night Elf can harvest lumber everywhere, right? And that is not possible in StarCraft. That's one example. Or wisps are protected while mining. That is also something that's not possible in StarCraft, right? So not every race harvests the same. So this is what they like a lot more, that different factions are using different tools to get resources. I think the coolest thing they mentioned about the resource system is that there would be diminishing returns on how many workers you have in a base. Yes, that is to incentivize rather a second base than oversaturating one base. Which is, I think, the same system as StarCraft, right? In Warcraft, there's a big diversity of gold and wood mining, while in StarCraft, every race mining both resources the exact same way. Exactly. All right. So, I guess that's it for today. I will be back tomorrow in 11 hours for Africa Warcraft League, everybody. Tomorrow, big day. We got Sok, Lin, Xiaokai, and 15 Sway. Very excited for that. Another GSL style group, 4 players. We need the last 2 players for the playoffs. AWL, I gotta say, real good tournament so far. Qualified at the moment, Colorful Chemico, Focus, Remind, Moon 120, and then 2 more from tomorrow. I thank you for tuning in. I think at peak was like 1,000 people watching this with me. Really cool. Enjoyed this a lot to interact with you and the FrostGiant people. Was a nice hangout on a Sunday evening. So yeah, I think this is not something we normally do. Usually we're all Warcraft esports, Warcraft esports, Warcraft esports, right? So talking about games and a new game is pretty exciting. And you seem to enjoy this too, in a lighthearted way. Love it. So see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central European Summertime. Thank you for all the support. Check out our sponsors if you have the time, or back to warcraft.com/support if you want to keep this engine running. See ya!